The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome into an interesting edition of Crossed Flags. As you can tell, this isn't the usual background that we have for our podcast here. Matt and I are doing it from our homes because, as the old saying goes, the only thing in life that is constant is change. And our producer's schedule changed. Carrie's changed. Molly not necessarily available at the times that we're available, so that didn't help. Turned out producer John was available. So we appreciate him taking some time out of his busy day when he's usually actually asleep because, well, he works third shift generally. And we appreciate him taking the time to actually do this. So this is going to be a relatively short one. We've only got a couple of subjects here. We're going to cover a little bit of IndyCar in a moment. It is interesting to note that the Indy 500 merchandise, like T-shirts and stuff, you're about to be able to get that at Target. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll say this. This is something that IndyCar really needed because you can get NASCAR stuff in many different places, Walmart included.
Oh, yeah.
IndyCar stuff, if you're a big fan of IndyCar, you haven't really had that avenue to be able to go get that stuff. So
it's true.
You can get Indy 500 stuff at a Target at some point in time. I don't know when it's actually going to become available, but it'll be interesting to look at and take a look at. We'll get back to IndyCar stuff here in a minute. First things first. How long has the rookie stripe been used, Matt, in NASCAR?
I'm going to say probably at least the 80s, at least.
I was thinking, several decades. So that would about fit. Well, guess what? It's about to go away. NASCAR said that they're eliminating the rookie stripe because they figure, well, if you can't tell, I guess it really doesn't matter in the end whether or not you have the yellow stripes on your back of the bumper to indicate that you're a rookie. Because if you're sitting at the Cup Series, you've earned your way there.
Another laundry list of things that make you go, what are you doing? Or what are we doing within this top level of the sport?
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of knows, I guess, to a certain extent, whether you're a rookie in your particular sport. There's a part of me that kind of wondered why we needed the rookie stripe for a long time, but then you just kind of got used to it being there, and you're like, okay, now you've got an indication. Oh, that's right. The person behind the wheel of car number, fill in the number, is in his first year or her first year. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, if it's not that important now, but 3, 4, 5 decades ago, whenever it was that it was instituted, it was important. Why are we changing our mind on that?
It's really hard for me to understand why our minds are changing all of a sudden. If you're eliminating it in one division, why are we not eliminating it across the board?
Yeah, because according to everything that I've seen, it's only in the Cup Series.
I don't understand why we're not eliminating it all the way across the board if we're going to eliminate it in one. Because
absolutely.
Let me try to think of one who could be a good example. Well, let's use this for example right here. You got Riley Herbst. Okay.
And yes, he would.
He's a rookie. He
would have the stripes on the car. Absolutely.
He would have the stripes. But considering we're going to have in the Daytona 500, not 1, not 2, but 3 Monster Energy cars, we're going to go, who am I pushing? Am I pushing Reddick? Am I pushing Gibbs? Or am I pushing Herbst?
Yeah, now you're paying even that much more attention or trying to figure out exactly where the number is so that you know which number you're pushing.
Yeah, and I don't understand what would all of a sudden just out of nowhere warrant them going, okay, if you got to the Cup Series, even though you're considered a rookie, you got to the Cup Series, you've earned your right there, so you're technically not a rookie. That's what is who Who came up with the thought process? What was their basis on it, and what was their reasoning for determining why we don't need rookie stripes in Cup anymore?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand it.
I agree. I mean, it seems like a relatively small thing on the surface. Okay, yellow stripe, no yellow stripe, whatever. But we have gotten to the point where that has been an indicator now, like you said, for 4 or 5 decades at least. Again, we don't have a whole lot of history on it sitting right in front of us here. But the point of this is you put it on there for a reason. Now you're taking it off and you're stating that if you made it to the Cup Series, you're fine. Well,
Right.
if you made it up to the Xfinity Series, you've gone through a whole lot of levels. If you made it to the Craftsman Truck Series, you've made it up through a number of levels.
At least ARCA.
Yeah, exactly.
At
And
least.
you've probably got to start in short tracks doing late models, super late models, whatever.
Super late models in ARCA at least is a given if you run through trucks.
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you, Matt. If you're going to eliminate it from the Cup Series level, I say go ahead, eliminate it from Xfinity and eliminate it from trucks, because nobody's going to, for example, nobody's going to give me a shot. You, at least, Matt, have late model experience at a number of different tracks around the Southeast.
Right.
If you got the opportunity to go, you have some driving experience. That makes sense. Nobody's going to give me a chance to do it, because the only thing I've done is the driving experience at Talladega once and the driving experience at Atlanta once. I probably should have not only have a couple of stripes on the back bumper of my car, I should probably have the entire back of the car painted yellow.
Well, the way that they
crazy enough to give me a ride.
The way that they've dubbed the entire process down across the board, and that's how I'm going to word it. They've dubbed it down. You know, and I'm going to go back and something I said Saturday, kind of on the lines of basis of this. If you can go to an ARCA Menard, go to the open January test practice, however they want to word it, to Daytona in an ARCA car, and you can successfully run 5 consecutive laps and hold a straight wheel, and you can run 10 laps in a drafting style form, which is,
and that's the basic test, right?
That's not that hard to do at Daytona.
Okay.
Or Talladega.
But that's the basic test?
That is the basic test, the basic test and practice at Daytona in January. Because if Garrett Mitchell and anybody that views YouTube content stuff a lot, Garrett Mitchell, he is known by the name Cletus McFarland.
I've heard that name.
If he can go to Daytona and pass the test and be approved to run the General Tire 200 at Daytona on February the 15th.
Just because he did the test?
He passed the test and they approved him to run. He will be driving the Rhett Jones number 30 Mustang.
All right, Matt, you and we need to find out when the test is next year, and we need to be there.
January.
I mean, the date, everything. We need to know all of that, and we need to get ourselves in there.
Helmet. I've got a helmet. I've got a fire suit, shoes. Everything I've got is legal to pass safety specs. So put me in. I will pass the test.
Oh my gosh! If that's all that there is for a test, heck, I might be able to pass it.
That's it. And if my memory serves me correct, someone that used to be a somewhat of a regular, Joey Jatina.
Yes.
When he got his super speedway certification, if I remember correctly, there was an open test that they had at Talladega. He done the open test at Talladega, even though he had probably thousands of laps underneath his belt by being an instructor at the Dale Jarrett Driving Experience at the time when it was still alive.
Sure. And I remember calling out his name when I was the PA announcer at the old Birmingham.
He passed the certification, and I'm not sure that there were that many cars at that test that happened, because I know he drove a car for Wayne Peterson.
Yes. What was that, the 06?
The 06 car.
Yeah.
And he got approved to run. So, and I say this very, very, very clearly. It is not dubbing down what anybody may or may not have accomplished on a racing facility surface, whether it be dirt, or asphalt. It's not dubbing anything anybody's done. It's the entire process that has been dubbed down by the sanctioning body to make it so easy for Tom, Dick, Harry, Bobby Joe, Elvira, or Susie to get in a car and go get approved to run at a super speedway race. You should have to be approved to run at a short track and stair step up. If you run a short track, you successfully run a short track that's a half mile or under, okay, we're going to step you up to the 3/4 mile to 1 mile, which that would be Richmond, Iowa, and I think Madison, Wisconsin is over a half mile. Nashville Fairgrounds.
You going through ARCA?
This is the ARCA process.
Don't forget New Hampshire. Right. New Hampshire's a mile.
ARCA doesn't run New Hampshire, but they run Dover.
NASCAR does. But NASCAR does. So
they run Dover.
Just kind of throwing them in there.
Right. They do run Dover. All right. You successfully run an event on the tracks that are a half mile to a mile. All right. Now you're cleared to run a half mile. This is taking road courses completely out of the picture because road courses are not as road courses are more physically challenging and technically challenging.
Sure.
But road courses are easier to navigate in ways than ovals are.
I could see
once you pass the mile test, you get approved to go to the 1.5 miles. Once you get to the 1 mile,
I see where you're going.
You get 1.5 miles to 2 mile, which that involves Michigan because they run Michigan as well.
Yep.
All right. You clear that, now you can get on the high banks of Daytona and Talladega.
How would you throw Atlanta in there, considering that the NASCAR is considering them super speedway rules, Talladega, Daytona rules?
I would classify Atlanta as super speedway because it's considered it's going by those rule packages. You consider it in the same category as Daytona and Talladega, being the track and trim. But the discrepancy in the disparagement in the field, the level of field competition in ARCA, you really only have, if you start, I don't know, let's say the starting field is 25.
Okay.
20 of those cars are not going to finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, more than likely you are correct.
20 of them are not going to finish on the lead lap.
Yeah.
There's such a discrepancy in field quality in ARCA. It is ridiculous.
Yeah. You've got like Venturini and Joe Gibbs and
Venturini,
Premium.
Gibbs, PRG, this is Chevrolet ARCA bunch.
Yeah.
Rhett Jones is Ford. You got those, and then everybody else says, way down here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a big drop-off. And we see that every single time, even at Talladega, which has the ability to take a rather mediocre car and make it look pretty good because it can at least stick with the draft. But even there, we see where cars fairly quickly, after maybe even 10 laps, are starting to not only lose the draft, but be so kind of painfully slow that we might be starting to talk about them getting lapped before we get to the end of, the first stage or a caution flag or whatever.
Sure.
So it's a weird thing. Again, do I have a problem with them eliminating the rookie stripe? No. I want to know why, and I want to know why they only did it for the Cup Series, because again, that's what we're seeing now. There may be something out there that I haven't seen yet that said it's gone, period, across all levels of NASCAR. And if that is, I'll fall on my sword on Saturday during the big show. But you saw fit to put it on there at one point in time. Now you're taking it off. And all your reasoning is because, you made it to the Cup Series, so therefore, why do you need a rookie stripe?
It's beyond me, but I'll put this out there. Anybody that wants to get on a motorsports car, if you help out getting what the contract says for like the crash clause and all that stuff, which is typically no more than $15,000 or $20,000 to go to the test at Daytona. Half helmet will travel, and I will pass the test, and I will get your name on a car and start at Daytona, and then get you here to the backyard at Talladega.
Yeah, with one caveat: you got to make sure that our logo for either this podcast or the big show on Saturday goes on the car.
That'll be on the hood.
That's the only caveat we've got.
That'll be on the hood.
Pretty simple. Okay. Promised you some IndyCar stuff. And last week on this podcast and on the big show last Saturday, we talked about the fact that Fox Sports announced their announcer lineup for 2025, their first year covering IndyCar. And the man that they've got doing the main coverage, he's doing what you would call in stick and ball sports play-by-play, Will Buxton. He's going to be your race guy. He's going to be the lead announcer. He came out this week and said this, and I want to quote it to get it right. Quote, "There's no reason why IndyCar should not be the most popular form of motorsport here," talking about the United States. "And that means making it bigger than NASCAR. Will that take time? Absolutely. That's why they've assembled the group that they have." And I'm sure he's including the people like Penske Entertainment and going through the process of getting all of the new television partners and all that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think it's great. I do. I think it's fantastic. But correct me if I'm wrong, since 2018, IndyCar has had the contract with NBC. And even though the last couple of years we saw a couple of those races go to Peacock, streaming service only, and I think that was one of the main reasons why IndyCar blew off NBC and went to Fox, because Fox said, yeah, we'll put all 17 races on and we'll put them all on the network. We're not even going to put them on cable. We're going to put them all available on the over-the-air network.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was all a big part of it. But when you go back to, what was that, 2018 when they signed with NBC and NBC alone?
I think so, yeah.
We still haven't seen the television ratings come up and be able to match, other than the one race, and that, of course, is the Indy 500. Otherwise, the other 16 races have not really been able to come anywhere real all that close to where the Cup Series is when it comes to television ratings. It's going to take more than what Will Buxton is saying.
Yeah, it is. But with what Will's saying and the path that they are currently on, let's word it that way,
okay,
with having all of their races on the main mothership network.
Yeah.
All right. One thing that I have recognized and I have been paying attention to, it is January the 22nd at the time that this is being taped.
Yes.
I have yet to see a promo of any kind dealing with stock car series in the United States known as NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen IndyCar multiple times.
Oh, yeah. And I get it.
What's the problem with that?
I get the fact that they spent untold amount of money to get the IndyCar series for however long they got it. I don't have all the contract information in front of me, so I don't know how much they're paying per year. I don't know how much the total amount is per the contract. And truth be told, I don't know how many years they have the IndyCar contract for. I just don't have that in front of me. That's not to say that it's not available. I just don't have it sitting in front of me.
I'll say this about what Will said. On the path that they're on, he's not wrong.
No.
He is not wrong.
And here's the other side of it. If I'm NASCAR, yeah, you're getting the money from Fox. You're getting it from Amazon Prime. You're getting it from USA, TNT. I'm sorry, TNT, not USA. And you're getting it from NBC. You're getting their money. You're getting their money. I get it. But the problem is that you have now taken a backseat to a series that is drawing less people than you are.
Considerably less.
We went over those details here on the big show just a couple of weeks ago when we had the snow in. We couldn't do the radio version.
Yep.
We showed you 144 live race events. And how many of the top 50 were Cup Series?
38 of the top 42 were Cup Series.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. But and the only two that were in there, yes, was the Indy 500 and Formula One's race in Miami. Other than that, boom.
After when Memorial Day hits and the 500 is over, I am going to be intrigued to do a comparison of how Fox done their Daytona 500 production versus their Indy 500 production. And that is going to tell the tale with you right there.
Yeah.
Because I have this eerie feeling that the 600 being on prime streaming is not going to have a very good turnout.
I get the funny feeling you're right. You know, I mean, yeah, you get a special event. We did the story earlier today, as you mentioned, January the 22nd. We did a story earlier today on my Monday through Friday job where Netflix is going up on their rates again. And part of the reason why is because they were able to go out and attract a whole bunch of people to go watch the exhibition bout between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
And now they got the WWE on Netflix as well.
Exactly. So they're able to go out there and they're throwing some money around and all that. Okay, fine. And Amazon Prime might see a small jump in the number of people that subscribe to it, but it's not going to be a massive jump here. But if I'm NASCAR, I'm pretty ticked right now at Fox and NBC because you signed a contract with them. And one would have thought that at some point in time you would, allowed a certain number of races to go to cable.
Mm-hmm.
But to allow Fox to take the first 14 races of the year and only put 4 on the main network and the other 10 on cable, and to do the same thing on the end 14 races signed with NBC Sports, but only 4 go on NBC and the other 10 go on USA. It really doesn't matter how many viewerships or how many households Fox Sports 1 and or USA get into.
Right.
In the end, what matters is the number of people that are tuned in to watch your race, to watch the people that are sponsoring your race, so that they can go out and maybe go out and buy the products or at least go to the stores that are advertising on those races.
Sure.
And as we noted, when we looked at the top 20, and this does include, by the way, the F1 race at Miami and the Indy 500, when we looked at the top 20 rated races here in the United States for 2024, 19 of the top 20 were all over-the-air network. Number 20 was Fox Sports 1. That was it.
Yeah.
20th highest rated came in finally at Fox Sports 1. So yeah, if I'm NASCAR, I'm feeling pretty upset. And with the amount of money that Fox signed to pay to grab NASCAR, one would think that they would be advertising the living daylights out of 2 things. Number one, the biggest race of the year, which is the Daytona 500. According to the ratings numbers from last year, it was still the highest rated race, period. And then you got number 2, and that's the fact that you got the clash at Bowman Gray. And that's pretty historic to be able to go back to that.
Right.
So this whole TV thing has me just thoroughly baffled. So Will Buxton might be right, but to me it's artificial. It's not just something that actually kind of happened, organic sort of a thing. They're forcing this.
Mm-hmm.
Again, NASCAR, you're getting your money, but I also think you're getting shafted.
True.
So good luck with that. Our man right there, Matt's got to go take care of that leg a little bit here. And here's the good part. Weather looks like it's going to be good and hold out. It'd still be a little bit cool, but not like it's right now. I mean, granted, we here in Central Alabama, we're pretty good off. South Alabama, got a friend of mine in Foley, 8 inches. Foley, Alabama, just north of Orange Beach on the Gulf Coast, got 8 inches of snow.
I've got a buddy in Covington County that had 11.
Uh-huh. So our thoughts and our prayers out to those people. You think we up here in Central Alabama along the I-20 corridor from Tuscaloosa over to Anniston-Gadsden are not prepared? You want to talk about some people that really aren't prepared. Go down to Mobile and down towards the Gulf Coast. Ouch. Yep. So our thoughts and our prayers are with them. But yeah, weather looks like it's going to be good to go. And we'll be live with you on Saturday for the big show. Don't forget about it. CRN Live, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Join us then, won't you? Matt and I will talk to you then. And thank you to producer John for doing something a little bit unusual here, doing a midweek Cross Flags podcast. It's his first time producing this. Thank you very much, John.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.